How's it going? My name's Colin Winters. I'm the host of A Panthers Place, and today we'll be going over the predictions I have for the New Orleans Saints. And yes, for the astute of you who have noticed that I have the same exact hair and shirt going on right now, and the only difference is that jersey. I'm recording these back to back to back and just changing that for, a little bit of visual fun. But I'm doing all of these at the same time because I'm fucking busy. I got so much work to get done. So enjoy just the minor change of that. Either way, getting into it, I explained in my Bucks video how I do predictions, and I'm going to do a quick rundown again. For predictions, I give you an initial thought, which is my personal, what I think you're going to be with your record this year. And no matter what, I do have you splitting with your division in that, just because divisional games are weird. No matter how good or bad you are, you could probably split with your division rival, because those games are just a lot more intense, a lot of different things go into them. And then I give you a low rating and a high rating, depending on if your season goes horribly fucking wrong or if it goes really, really good. And for the Saints, I'm just going to preface this with, yes, I'm admittedly very low on your team, and I think you could be the next one in line to be the worst in the NFL this season. And trust me, I'm not like cheesing at that, because out of my time being a Panthers fan, I was too young to really remember being bad enough to get Cam Newton. So being young enough, being old enough to know what it's like to be the worst in the NFL, I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. I hope you're bad, but not as bad as we just were. But I think you could be. On the low end, because in my initial rating, I do have you guys at a 5-12, which, yes, is very low. You were just second in the division. You really tied with Tampa Bay, but of course they had the tiebreaker to actually go into the playoffs and win the division title versus you guys. But you were 9-8. How could you be so bad? Well, it's because I think y'all did nothing to improve while losing a bunch of pieces. I don't think Derek Carr's the guy. And no matter what, yeah, sure, you have Spencer Rattler that you just drafted, but he's going to be a flyer. You don't know if he's going to work out in the NFL. Like, that might. They may have just taken him because he was there and a good value pick on their draft board. We don't even know if there's like a plan to try and maybe teach him to be the starter one day. Yet you still have Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara, and that's nice. You have Jawan Johnson, who I'm pretty sure just got activated after an injury, so good for him. But you did lose pieces on the line. You have Trevor Penning starting at right tackle right now because Ramczyk, either he's going to have to be forced into medical retirement because of bad injury. Really sorry to hear that. Or he's going to at least start the season on, IR. You never know what's going to happen. You have your left tackle that you just drafted having some injury concern already throughout camp. So maybe he doesn't even start week one. There's just a lot of things going against you, especially when you then get to the defense, which I think you lost even more pieces to, mostly due to regression of age. Your defense is getting very, very old, and I don't know you've been hitting on these defensive draft picks. Guys like Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Cameron Jordan, these guys, all good players, but they're going to be regressing soon and are already regressing. These guys are older. These guys are, your veteran leadership, yes, but they're going to start getting to that point in time of their careers where they ain't going to be able to make many plays on the field that are, as big as they used to be. And, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, he could, he's still going to be a good player. But I don't know how good and how much he has left in the tank, especially as the season continues to go on and gets longer and longer. And Saints fans, you can call me biased all you want. This is just me like being genuinely concerned for how your organization is planning for these guys to get older and regress, and not seeing much of anything done to actually make sure you have a cushion for in case the father time takes his dues now rather than later. The Saints very well could be in a position where they're firing their coach midway through the season. I've fucking been there. It's awful. Plenty of other NFL fans have been there recently. It's not fun. So there is just that chance that could happen this season. It could be the Saints' time to be the worst in NFL, which is why at their low end I do have them at the Panthers' former record of 2-15, and those wins only coming from Week 1 in the Panthers and beating the Giants later in the season. But for your highest, in case maybe let's say the defensive, guys that are getting older still have this one good season left to play in them, and you have a few guys that maybe Brian Breesy shows up and kind of comes to form a little bit more, and then of course Derek Carr just decides to play like a better version of Derek Carr, and maybe you rattle off a few more wins because then I have you at 8-9, one less win than you had last year because I still think you have regressed that much as a team, but a respectable record, and more likely maybe second, maybe third, but in the end, I'm going to be completely honest. Right now, the race for the NFC South is between the Bucks and the Falcons, and the race for third is between the Panthers and the Saints. Like for real, I think our organizations, like collectively, are incredibly incompetent. So we're the meme of the two brain cells competing for third place. And with my Bucks video, I talked a little bit about how I think they could be, in the during the season to try and be more aggressive if they want to win more games. But for the Saints, I honestly don't see that happening. By the time the trade line hits, I see them honestly being sellers. They're probably going to maybe ship off a few of the veteran names who are looking to win a Super Bowl. Maybe even Cameron Jordan gets, sent off somewhere just as a swan song for him, trying to get him to a contender. Probably not though, since he's a Saint blood inside of him. But my point being, I don't see the Saints doing much of anything this season to try and be that win now team. Maybe their front office is understanding of the position they're in, and they're gonna just be like, let's see who we got in young guys. But otherwise, they're you're probably just gonna be a very mid team, mid to bad team. In the end, not a terrible season, but a pretty forgettable one. But that's all I have for this video. If I've been kind of all over the place, I do apologize. This is my first time doing this type of thing, being the camera again, in forever, really, since the end of last season. So please bear with me, but if you have stuck to the end, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.